Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I am so happy to have you here. We are going to dive right into your reading and get a look. You guys, I had the funniest thing happen this morning. I had a great white egret, like, literally come up to my front door. Wait, let me show you. I'll show you a picture. It's hysterical. This is the front of my house. Look at this. Isn't that hilarious? I'm expecting you guys to answer. But I died. That's never happened. I mean, we've had him in our yard and everything, but he came right up to the front door. I had to go outside to take a picture. It was hysterical. I was like, you want to come in? You want to hang out? Let's be friends. All right, here we go. For Pisces, please, Spirit. For Pisces. I always feel so honored when an animal of any kind comes up, but you know, those birds are so striking. They're bright white and they're so striking. Ah, yes, Pisces. Okay, you have transformation and you have love. This is beautiful. There is some transformation taking place in your love life. I mean, that's pretty obvious. That's pretty clear. This may be something that you hold really close to your heart. Also, though, like, she's holding this close to her throat chakra. This may be an opportunity for you to voice what you need. Or this could be a situation, for example, where you may have told someone what you needed or what you were willing to accept and what you weren't willing to accept, and they may have, you know, not been able to give that to you at some point, and it may have been really, really, really hard for you to part ways with this person. But this feels very brave to me, and it also feels like this energy of trusting, like, if something is meant for me, then I will have it, but I will have it in a way that honors me and that honors my standards and that honors, you know, what I deserve and what I'm worth. And I'm just going to trust that. And I'm going to trust that speaking my truth and, like, saying this, you know, like, was the right thing to do even. You know, sometimes we get that courage hangover, right? Where, you know, we speak our mind. Guys. Hey, Bhakti Princess. Do you want to go watch football with Daddy? Well, that's what you're going to do. You got to behave. And you too, little grand dog. Okay, relax. So there is this energy of, sorry about that, you guys. There's just so much going on. My husband did the treat bag, so off they went. But, you know, sometimes we get that courage hangover where, you know, we say what we need, or we ask for what we deserve, or we hold our standard bravely, even though we really don't want to lose the person, even though we don't want to lose the connection or the relationship. But we know we have to honor ourselves first. And if they are not honoring us, we have to honor ourselves. And so sometimes that means, you know, pulling back, pulling away, withdrawing our energy, no longer participating in that space, you know, And, you know, sometimes in the moment, you're building up to that moment and you're like, I know this is the right thing to do. I know this is the right thing to do. But then when you actually do it, afterwards, sometimes, you know, fear and doubt come creeping back in. But truthfully, if you are speaking from a place of your truth and your heart and honoring yourself, I truly feel like those are the moments that, even if fear and illusion cause us to doubt ourselves, or to doubt whether or not we did the right thing, or to make us question it, or to make us even sometimes feel a little icky about it, when we come back around to the place of, what if I hadn't said that? And you work through it and you're like, well, I'd still be in this relationship. I still wouldn't be honored the way that I deserve to be honored. I still you know, and we come back around to, I hate it because I miss this person. I miss this connection. I miss this interaction. But at the same time, I understand that that was like really and truly the only option that I had if I wanted to continue to honor myself and not lose parts of myself for this relationship. And so this may be a time where you have done that, and it may have gone through some kind of death, and it may be getting ready to experience some kind of rebirth. Okay, I'm specifically picking up on that kind of energy. So take it as it resonates. All right. This can also be you have worked on yourself. You know, you have done a healing, you're resurrecting, you're going through your own rebirth when it comes to love and your ability to love, or your ability to trust and be open and be vulnerable. Maybe you were hurt really badly, and you know, you haven't really felt like completely opening up, or even felt like you're able to completely open up. All right, let's see what else we're getting here. I feel like there are multiple stories here. There's something about opening up. I am definitely strongly getting those words. Okay, I dropped a card. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's, if you could have seen it, standing straight up against my desk frame, like if you could have seen what had to happen for this card to fall and land the way that it did. Autonomy, okay? It's important. Yeah. Wow. Okay, this is incredible. I'm going to go back to my first example of, okay, let's say you spoke your mind and you were like, you know, I care about you, I'm enjoying this relationship, but like I need a commitment, or you know, you do kind of get to a place where it's like you're really starting to have feelings for someone, and you really are, it's like if you don't continue to take steps forward, it's going to begin to stagnate. And you're someone who's capable of taking steps forward, and you don't want to stagnate, and you don't like stagnation. So it's like you kind of naturally want to keep moving forward. But if the give and take kind of stops, the reciprocity stops right there, and this person isn't really able to continue to move forward with you, like they're not, you know, they're not also being vulnerable, they're not also showing you this kind of side of themselves or this growth, then either you continue to go down the path and end up getting really, really hurt when this person is like, listen, I never promised you the world. I, you know, promised you this 5 minutes, you know what I mean? And then you get really, really hurt because you're developing feelings, you're allowing yourself to carry on down the path, and they're not really coming with you. Or, you know, you stop giving so much to the connection, and then it stops growing, and then it's like you kind of become resentful, and you're constantly wondering where you stand, what's going on. It gets all very hazy and very confusing. And you're like, am I waiting for this person to move forward? Is it their goal to move forward? Are we ever moving forward from here? Or is this just sort of where it goes and this is it? You know what I mean? And like there are a multitude of other options, right? But I'm just kind of giving you a spectrum there. It's kind of like it reaches this point, and you can do anything you want, but if you make the choice to sort of stay in a space that isn't continuing to grow with you and isn't continuing to sort of push you to be your highest and best, it takes a toll on you. It starts becoming draining, and then you end up resenting it. So sometimes if you really do care about the connection, you don't want it to get into an imbalanced point of view, or you know, an imbalanced place where it's going to be forced apart and things can happen where we can't come back from it. You know, sometimes the kindest thing to do is to sort of just say, you know, at this time, it doesn't seem to be really growing or moving forward. This is what I need. I can't continue to grow in this space if it stays right here. And, you know, that's what I'm looking for. So, you know what I mean? Um, yeah, I think you took your power back, Pisces. That's just the energy I'm getting. That's this autonomy energy. It's giving me the Nine of Pentacles. It's like, I think, you turned your back on the situation and were like, this is what I need. And if you can't really provide that or show up for me or go there with me, then I may have to walk away from this connection. There is a strong connection here. You have entanglement here, which entanglement isn't necessarily a great energy, right? It's kind of, sometimes it can be the result of like codependency, where it's like, we're so tied up in each other that like I don't know how to be me anymore without you, or I don't think I can be happy unless you're in my life. Like those kinds of things like can be symbolic of entanglement. It doesn't have to be like that, but that's the part of the energy that I'm really picking up on. And when you get like that, when you get so energetically enmeshed with each other, it is hard to just walk away and separate. There is still this feeling of connection, even if by all rights there is no connection left that is visible or that is agreed upon or that is existing. It's not like we're calling each other every day or texting each other every day or whatever. It's just that like I feel your presence in my life all the time. And even you have this energy of signs where it's like, even the universe isn't letting you forget. Even the universe is like, hey, remember this person exists. You see a license plate from their home state. I don't know, that literally just flashed that specifically in front of me, like crazy. You see, you hear their name. You smell their favorite food. You walk past somewhere where you had your first date. You end up, somebody's asked you to have coffee with them and you end up in the coffee shop where you met that person. It's like everything is rolling around back to the situation, even in the physical world. And it's like, is this a sign? Is this, because it's all kind of random. It's not in your control. Then you have this vacant energy, and it's kind of like this person is just not showing up. It's almost like because of the entanglement, you expect them to show up. You almost like know that they will, or you feel like they're about to all the time, but then they don't. And it's like they're mysterious and they're gone, and you're like, are you thinking about me the way that I'm thinking about you? Is this affecting you to the degree that it's affecting me? Like, are you able to just, were you ever really present? Were you ever really there? Because how could you have been there where I was and you're not here now? Like, how could it have not led you back to this place yet? If you felt the way that I feel, like, what in the world? But you see right next to it that card that says Ascension, and this is what we've been talking about here. I don't know, at least in the last reading, it's time has been very weird for me in the last like 2 weeks. But I feel like we have been talking about this, or I've been picking up on this energy where it's like, yeah, people, they can't show up for something that they aren't a frequential match for. They're not in alignment with it. And they've got to get there in order for it to come together. And so in that way, it's like, it's really not in your control. And it may feel like it's in their control, but it feels to me like a lot of deprogramming has to happen in order for this person to even feel like capable of even sort of thinking about it in a way that is actionable. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, I feel like they can think about it like, God, I really wish I could. But God, I really wish I could is very different than, okay, I'm going to write a letter and I'm going to leave it on their windshield, under their windshield wiper, and I'm going to go a distance away. So I'm going to watch them come out. I'm going to watch them get it off their windshield. I'm going to make sure that they got it. And, I'm going to sit and wait, and I'm going to hope that they're going to respond, or however it is, like I'm physically in reality taking steps to make it happen. You see what I'm saying? Very different than, God, I wish I could. I wish I want to, you know? I keep picking up on this energy of like, man, I really want that, or man, I really want, you know, it's like this energy of like empty manifestation. Everybody wants $1 million, but not everyone is a millionaire. So obviously that's not how manifestation works, right? Like we know that for sure. And it's kind of the same thing with people who are, like my daughter knew this girl in middle school who she played an instrument, and she was always like, like my daughter was also in band. My daughter also played an instrument. And my daughter practiced all the time. She had weekly lessons, and she really always did not want to practice and didn't really want to go to her lessons. But she did because she wanted to be good. She was a conscientious student. And this girl, she technically played the instrument, right? But she never practiced, and she would always show up. And she was the only person in the band. It was a pretty small band that played that instrument, the French horn. And so when she wasn't playing or she messed up, it was like pretty obvious, you know what I mean? It was like, you're the only one playing the instrument. So anyway, she was constantly messing up. They were constantly having to stop the entire band to like go over her part for the teacher to work with her. And, you know, he'd always say to her, you know, practice. And this girl was like, yeah, okay. But then it was very clear she wasn't practicing, at least in my daughter's viewpoint, right? And so anyway, she would then always talk about how she was going to go to Juilliard, like she was going to apply to Juilliard and go to Juilliard. And, you know, my daughter was just like, how can she think she's going to Juilliard when she never practices, she's never playing, and when she is playing, she's playing the wrong thing. Like, it just drives me crazy. Like, you know, the people that go to Juilliard really work hard. And I mean, my daughter knew a lot of people that went there because of, you know, different things. But she was just like, it just doesn't even, how do you even convince yourself of that? And that's what I always think about when I think about this energy. Like, that's what it always comes to mind. Is like, there are the people who are like, man, I really want this. And then there are the people who are like, I want this and I'm doing something about it. I'm putting actionable steps in place. And like, I may not know, you know, it's like, even if you practice every single day, are you going to get into Juilliard? Who knows? You know, who knows? It's a very, very, very difficult place to get into. And on top of it, you know, there are so many variables. How many other French horn players are trying out for Juilliard that year? How many French horn players do they need? How many French horn players do they want? You know, you may be the best, but if all those spots are already taken and they don't have any space to have a new French horn player come, it's not going to matter how great you are. You know what I mean? And maybe you have a really bad day that day, or get lost in New York City and can't find yourself to the audition, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many variables. So even if you do everything right, you still, it may not pan out for you. But certainly you have to do everything right, you know? You have to use all your free will choices to align yourself with that version of yourself that gets into Juilliard, you know? You don't just sit there and wish and want for it. So, anyway, I feel like this is almost that moment that is really separating those two kinds of people. And of the people who are sitting there wishing or wanting to talk to you, or wanting to catch up with you, or wanting to be there for you, but not doing anything legitimately about it. Or there are the people who are using all of their free will choices to show up, to do it. You know, they're determined and they're persevering. And I feel with this response, it's like, this person is opening up to new ideas. Oh my God, I literally got this person is opening up to new ideas. And Twin Flame was underneath that. Take it as it resonates. You know how I feel about Twin Flame. But here we go. So some of you may be you know, kind of dealing with a runner or someone who's a bit of an avoidant personality here with the running. You know, you have escape, denial, excuses, and this is the vibe that I'm getting. It's like, you know, when someone says I want something but they don't do anything about it, they're oftentimes employing denial and excuses along with it, right? Like, well, even if I did everything, I probably still wouldn't do it. So why try? Why put all that effort into doing it if I'm definitely not going to do it when I get there? Or I'm probably, like, the chances of me, you know, it's like the little boys who are like, hey, I'm going to play baseball and or football or something, and I'm really hoping I'm going to get into the NFL. You know what I mean? And it's like, there are the kids who are like, oh, I'm probably, you know, not going to do it, and they jack off, and they, you know, they just do it for the popularity or the this or the that, and they don't really take it seriously. And then there are the kids who really show up and really do it, and really put everything they have. I mean, yeah, and it's a lot. I mean, yeah, my son's friend, who's been one of his little buddies since first grade, is finishing. He's going to go into the draft this year for the NFL, and I mean, this kid sacrificed literally everything for football, everything, and you know, he did just. I mean, he was always just like, yep, I'll do it. Yep, I'll do it. It was his dream. It was you just almost feel like he was just born to do it, because that's just how his energy has always been. But I mean, he got extremely good grades. He's like literally done everything right. And this energy with the nurturing and the tension, you know, when you're running, right? And you're making these excuses, and you're almost in denial of the role you play in your own life. I mean, actually, I find this to be true about a lot of people that I talk to. There is a denial of, you know, it's like people want, I don't understand it totally, but like, you want to believe that like the world determines everything. You know, the world determines how successful you'll ever be, or how this or how that or this or that. I mean, I don't know, but I just know that I just know from my own experience and having accomplished things that like blew my own mind in my life, that you have a lot of say in it. You create your reality. I do believe that in a lot of ways. And so, you know, but a lot of times we deny that we can do that. We deny our own limitlessness. And, you know, like when I was doing photography, when I was first starting out, and I was just like, you know, I felt like a grain of sand on a big beach, where everybody was doing it and everybody was good, and you know, I really wasn't special, and you know, people had fancy educations, and people had you know, this experience or that one, or you know, all this stuff, and I was always just like looking at it like, oh man. But that's when I really got into visualization, and I started, when I would go to sleep at night, I would literally, when the anxiety would start to hit me of like, I can't do this, what am I thinking, I would start visualizing all the different ways where it could work out, or where it did work out, or where I was successful. And I got the craziest opportunities. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, unbelievable opportunities. And so I truly do like believe in that. You know, I wouldn't be saying it on this channel or talking to you about it if I, from my own experience, didn't know it to be so. And I always tell you when this is my experience, or like I'm not sure, but other people have told me this, okay? And I do that on purpose. I always want you to know the difference when it comes to me, what I'm saying to you. It's very important to me. I don't want to lead anyone astray or ever not be forthcoming about things. Anyway, what I see here is there's a tension that builds within us when there is a misalignment between what we truly want. I oftentimes think that the things that we want for a reason. Like, they're there for a reason. They're our motivator. There are a thing that pushes us towards our life path, or pushes us toward what we're trying to experience in this life. That instinctual, like, want or desire. The wands represent, the Ace of Wands can represent your soul purpose, right? And so, the wands are also what we want, what we desire. And I feel like that is so intentional, right? That is a shared energy of the wands in tarot. And so when you want something, but you're telling yourself, I can't have that, there is a conflict that builds, a frustration. And if you know someone who's in that frustration of like, I really want to be president of the United States, but I can't go to college. I can't, I'm never going to get campaign money. I'm never going to get, who's ever going to vote for me somewhere, something, da 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 da. And so then this frustration builds of like, I want this, but I can't have it. And that, like, why would I want this if I couldn't have it? Well, the answer is that just isn't true. And that's why there's this conflict. That's why there's this tension. You can 100% have it. You have to believe it, and you have to use every one of your free will choices, including reprogramming your subconscious and conscious mind that is telling you that you can't have it. It's you with you that's in your way. There are all kinds of books about this. The mountain is the obstacle, or you are the obstacle, or whatever that book is. And, it is all like that, So this feels like this person is like, they want you, they want to be in this relationship with you, but it feels impossible to them. It feels like, either it could conflict with their own belief system. It could conflict with the way they've always done things. It could conflict with their need to protect themselves. It could conflict with what their ego is telling them. It could conflict with whatever. But it is causing this internal conflict that is causing this person to run and to kind of feed into this denial that they have, that they can actually have what they want. And Pisces, this isn't about you, putting out a billboard that's like, hey, you can have me if you want me. No, it isn't that. That isn't what they need to hear. That's not what is going to solve this problem. And people get so frustrated with this when they're on the receiving end of it, and I don't blame them, right? Because it's like, well, but this is also what I want, but I would show up for them, but I would accept, them trying versus them already being there. I would move heaven and earth. I would be a soft place to fall. I wouldn't judge them. I would, whatever was necessary, I would do it for this person. All they need to do is show up. But this person, that isn't the answer. The answer isn't you go more than halfway, or you start compromising yourself to have it. That's only going to create an imbalance, and the universe is going to blow up your spot then. But this is about them finding it within themselves to believe in themselves, and to believe in love, and to find within themselves the ability to overcome fear and illusion and open up to vulnerability and love. And this is a very personal thing that there's only them. I feel like you've already walked in and created the tension. You've already shown them what they want and made them want it so badly that they're even, contemplating this, or even potentially on the precipice of some kind of transformation here. So when we're in conflict, right, within ourselves, two things happen, or like one of two things happens depending on which way we go, right? We can lean toward the tension and we can get angry, okay, which doesn't help anybody, but that is a response that people do have. Or we can say, I can't stand to feel like this anymore. What do I have to do for myself to make it better? Well, how do I help myself through this? And, maybe you talk to somebody. Maybe you you give yourself time and space and you introspect it. Maybe you know, find a book, you know, kind of put, even sometimes you could just put in the Google search how you're feeling, and something helpful will pop up for you, you know, like watch this video on YouTube, you know. There's all kinds of things, but you have this nurturing energy, and it has mentorship, and it has wisdom, and it has giving back on it. And this energy is, this is how we diffuse the situation. This is how we take the wind out of the sail that's sailing us in the wrong direction, that's sailing us away from what we want, right? We nurture. Like Michael Singer will say, just relax. Just relax. When you relax, it like, I told you the other day, my husband and I went to Magic Kingdom, and I like to do something that scares me, that I'm afraid of every once in a while, and it was time for me to do that. And I really don't like roller coasters. And so I wanted to ride Tron, though, because after the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, and I saw on Instagram that they rode Tron, and they were like, man, that was awesome. So, and I love riding bikes, and I used to ride motorcycles, and I was like, I really want to ride that ride, but I'm terrified. So for my birthday, I was like, I told my husband, I was like, I really want to go when Magic Kingdom opens, and because the lines are short, and just go and ride it. So we go and we get on, and I looked at my husband and I was like, I am so scared. And there's like a back restraint that like comes down on your back, and it came down, and he looked at me and he was like, didn't our son tell you this is the scariest ride he's ever been on? And I was like, oh my gosh. And I started to kind of panic, and right in that moment, the ride started moving, and I look at my husband, he's laughing so hard. He's like, babe, I'm just kidding. Relax, and just enjoy it. And I was like, oh my gosh, my mind was spinning. And you have this moment where the train is like coming out of the, you know, the, like where you get on the queue place, and it's going, and I just, my yoga self kicked in, and I started doing deep breaths, and I told myself to relax, and I just relaxed into it. It was the best time I've ever had on a roller coaster in my entire life. So now I told my husband, I want to ride more roller coasters. So I'm going to try this like breathing thing and this relax thing, instead of like letting myself give into the anxiety of the roller coaster. Of that feeling of like, oh, I'm trapped on this. My only way off is to go through it and to get off on the other side, you know, and like white knuckle it the whole way. So anyway, all of that being said, I have no idea why I went off on that tangent, except to say that we can nurture ourselves in these moments when we're feeling conflict, when the fear and the illusion is kicking in and is telling us, you know, like what the reason it's telling us this, okay, is to protect us, right? And to keep us safe. But safe isn't always what we necessarily want or need. And if what we want is a healthy relationship and, you know, growth of ourself and our connection, and to experience something, you know, deep in this life, a deep, deep love, then we have to get past that fear. And the only way I have ever found past fear is to relax. You know, like even if you watch those stories, like there was this lady who, this guy like had committed some crimes, and she happened to be walking out of her apartment, and he pushed her back inside because he needed a place to hide from the police, and he was armed and dangerous. And she stayed relaxed, and she talked to him, and she was mentoring him and coaching him and like giving him a different way to look at life and all this stuff. And he set her free, and they maintained a friendship when he was in prison. And like, I don't even know, but like when you stay relaxed in those moments, you can move mountains. And honestly, the depth of intimacy that happens when you are two people locked in it, facing your fears together, it deepens your connection. Even like, I don't think my husband is scared of roller coasters. He loves roller coasters. He rides all the roller coasters. Our daughter is a little daredevil, and she'll ride roller coasters with him till the cows come home. And they've ridden all the roller coasters around here. But he was his first time riding it, and he wasn't really sure what to expect, and he doesn't like that feeling of being on a bike, like that. We're very tall. He's 6'5", and so those things never exactly fit us right. We're definitely not average height. And so, I think for a second he had a moment too, but I could feel like that our bond, like we had just done something bonding, you know what I mean? Riding the roller coaster together, even though like we've been together forever. It still deepens your connection, these experiences where, even me being afraid and him being there for me, that deepens our level of connection. So they're all opportunities. Every time we're afraid, it is a big green light that says opportunity, 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 to face this fear and to like get deeper and to like live bigger. So anyway, I don't know, you guys. Do take this as this resonates. I have no idea. I'm just going off track, and here we are hanging out, having a good time on a Saturday. I missed you guys. It's been a wild moment here. Yeah, so I think this person is having this opportunity to, though, kind of nurture this conflict within them, to observe it, to look at it. Wow, I mean, holy crap. You got the World and the Three of Wands. I mean, that's exactly what that is. Damn, what the heck? You guys with this Four of Cups. Seriously, this is that energy of, that denial that we were talking about, that escape we were talking about, where it's like, this isn't in my power to fix. I can't really have this. I can't really do this. The universe is always passing me by. I'm never going to be satisfied because I'm never going to get the same opportunities other people are getting. I'm always the one that's over here, getting passed up for the promotion, not finding my soulmate at the bar with my friends, and they find people easily, like whatever it is. It's this attitude and this energy. It's kind of apathetic and it's kind of victimization sort of thing. Here we have the Three of Wands and the World card, and it's like, dude, look at him. He's even thinking here. He's like, man, if I want something different for my future, if I'm actually wanting these things to come to me, I got to change something. I got to close this cycle of perpetually telling myself I can't. I have to prepare. I have to have a different strategy for my future. I can't keep doing the things the exact same way I've been doing them and expect a different result. It's just not going to happen. World card, please. Okay. Wow. Yeah, this is definitely a breakthrough energy. And wow, we have the Queen of Cups in reverse with the World card. Damn. Wow. Holy mackerel. Wow. Universe. Okay. All right. So sorry. Okay. I feel like I'm a little airy today. I'm an air sign like all the way through, and I'm feeling it right now. And I mean, we are in Libra season, so it makes sense. We have the Queen of Cups in reverse, and this is like, this person wants to end not having unconditional love in their life. They want to end this period of not feeling nurtured, not feeling loved or accepted, even by the universe. With this Four of Cups, it's like, nobody loves me. I never get that kind of attention. And it's kind of almost like, I guess I just don't need it. There's almost an arrogance in this person's face in this card, where it's just like, like, I'm just tough. I don't need it. I'll just be independent. I'll just accept that this just isn't for me, blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to complain about it and be pissy about it and be in conflict about it. Then you have the Three of Wands here being clarified by the Eight of Pentacles, the Six of Cups, and the Sun. You have the Ace of Swords on the bottom of the deck, and you have the Sun here. This is like, the clouds have parted, and I'm now seeing things very clearly. I'm finally getting the clarity that I need in order to be able to like heal whatever this is. With the Six of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles, there is this connection from this person's past where they're like, examining it, looking at it, like, even considering what it would take, or even having an aha moment about what it would take for them to be able to reciprocate it, or what reciprocation in that space looks like or means, or what would be expected of them. And it's like they're able to clearly see where they're falling short of that, where they're not able to show up, you know, where it's kind of like seeing their own denial, seeing their own excuses, and saying, okay, I'm not denying this anymore, and I'm not making any more excuses. I'm going to be honest with myself. I'm going to be real about this situation. And I have the opportunity to work on this and to actually show up and to actually deliver. I'm going to do that. I'm going to choose that. I'm going to take my power back. I'm going to have success and victory here. And you know, with the Ace of Swords, this can be like, I'm going to seek wisdom, or I'm going to seek the information I need, or even I'm going to welcome thoughts or looking at things in a different way. You see that sword is pointing straight up, and it's got the crown and the wreath, the laurel leaves and the olive branch on it. This is all talking about success and victory. Like, this is a new founded intention of being successful. And it's almost like saying, I know I can do it. Like, I'm realizing it even is a mental thing. Like, it's me with me. You know, it's this. This is the culprit. I've got to change that. I've got to shift that. I have to work on it. With the Eight of Pentacles, I have to master myself. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Okay, let me just point out too, you have two aces already. This is, you have the transformation card, which really was giving me strongly death and rebirth. So there is definitely this energy here in this reading where there is some kind of new start coming. Whether this is you and your journey in love and coming to a place where you're ready for a new beginning, or if this is someone who is coming towards you, who you may have had a past situation with this person, who is now kind of seeing things much more clearly, who wants a new beginning. And this clarity is really, it's like finally they know what to work on, or finally it's like they're even, this attitude that they've had, or this way of thinking, or this way of being, is finally being exposed to them. Like, they're finally allowing themselves to see it. You know, we can always see it, but a lot of times we don't let ourselves see things about ourselves, like that we're not prepared to do something about, or that we won't like about ourselves. We just kind of don't let ourselves see that part. And it's not helpful. You know, the more we allow ourselves to see those things and to, you know, sit with those things, the more we can change those things, you know? So you have the Nine of Cups here with the Ace of Coins, and you have the King of Cups on the bottom of the deck. So this is like, through seeking your own emotional contentment, you become a master of your emotions. Okay, we had that Eight of Pentacles here with that Three of Wands. And this is like mastering the self. This is like, I'm going to put work in every single day to, you know, bring about this success and victory that I'm determined to have, that I'm looking for. With the Nine of Cups here, this is like the quest for to feel okay with ourselves, to be okay just being us by ourselves, you know, to not be like by ourselves and miserable, or by ourselves and lonely or alone. You know, this is like, I'm by myself and I'm really good with it. It's a choice. Because honestly, like, sometimes we don't think being by ourselves is a choice. You know, we think, oh, nobody loves us, or nobody this, or nobody that. It is a choice. And I don't mean that in the way of like, I don't even know how to say it that way. Like, and that's a backwards way of trying to say it. But the frontwards way of trying to say it is, if you really are just so desperate to be in a relationship with someone, or to not be by yourself, you can, you know, there will be someone lower vibrational than you who is willing to be with you and use you and abuse you and take from you. That there will be, you know, if you are open to that. So the choice is, I hold my standard for myself and I have boundaries, and I don't want to be with someone so badly that I'm willing to allow that kind of energy into my life. Do you see what I'm saying? So sometimes we like are illusion ourselves into this place of like, well, you know, I wish I had a choice, but I don't. But then in the same breath, those people oftentimes say, I can't find anyone to be in a relationship with. And it's like, right, there's where your choice is. You have a standard, you have a boundary, and thank God, that's great. I'm happy for you that you do. I encourage that, you know. I'm not saying you shouldn't be like that. And oftentimes, you know, like, it's easy to get sucked up in the messaging of the society and culture and whatever that's like, oh, we should all have a partner and we should all be doing this and we should all be doing that. But a lot of the people that I know, this isn't true for me, but because I met my husband when I was 20, but a lot of people that I know that are actually really satisfied in their relationships didn't really meet their people until much later in life. And so, you know, I mean, I always say, like, I hit the jackpot because I didn't even really know who I was when I met my husband. I really didn't know what life was going to be like or what I was going to need in a partner. I don't even think I was smart enough to think like that when I met my husband. I just like really got very lucky, and that's what I think, you know, that's what I know. And, but I think for the most part, like, the more you know yourself, which with the Nine of Cups and the King of Cups, this is in a lot of ways knowing yourself emotionally and mastering yourself emotionally, like contenting yourself, learning to self-soothe yourself and not be, you know, dependent on someone else for your happiness, not being dependent on someone else for your mood or for, you know, your emotional well-being, right? To be able to like just see the miracle that is your life, or that is this day, or that is this opportunity, or that is whatever, and to be happy and content and truly satisfied with that, and, you know, feel good about where you're at. That is, you know, emotional contentment on your own. And not everyone ever even really gets there in life, you know. I mean, narcissists certainly do not ever experience that. So, you know, with this King of Cups energy, it's like once you find emotional contentment for yourself and you know, are able to sort of stay there and live in that space, you can much more easily have it with someone else. And, you know, because it's a much more balanced, much more stable, much more secure thing, which is where we end up with this Ace of Coins. When you are coming to the table in this space where you're not emotionally reactive and fear and illusion are not triggering you on a regular basis, you know, we all get triggered from time to time, but when you are basically a stable person, you work through it. You know, you can navigate that space kind of effectively. This is like, this opportunity is solid and stable, that is coming, that is here, that is like the universe is offering it to you, but a lot of it is in recognition of the work you've done with yourself to get yourself here, to master your own emotions and to find emotional contentment on your own. And this is what is kind of giving this opportunity so much potential, really. So I don't know if it's with this person where they have worked it out within themselves to be able to kind of show up here, or if this is, you know, you with you. I feel like this is a general reading, so there are various scenarios here at play. But you have the Nine of Cups being clarified by the Eight of Wands. This is someone that, you know, once they start to feel stable on their own, if this is another person coming towards you, once they're starting to feel stable on their own and they're able to kind of feel for themselves that they are in the driver's seat when it comes to their emotional contentment, that they aren't dependent on what other people think about them, what other people's view or opinion is of them, where they're, not trying to so focused on protecting themselves and stuff that they can, even open up and be vulnerable to the day that's coming before them and accept the day on the day's terms without needing to control it or needing it to go a certain way in order for them to be happy. They can find happiness no matter where the day takes them or no matter how the day plays out. I feel like once they reach this place, there's communication coming in or they're coming towards you. If it's not them coming towards you, if this isn't a past person coming back around and this is you moving forward, this is you. Once you get to that space, you're moving forward without obstacle. And the Eight of Wands is also Cupid's arrows. So this may be, and you have the Ace of Coins here. So this may be the place where someone new comes into the picture. And this is a solid and stable opportunity. This is someone that you can, have something with, build a connection with. You have the Knight of Swords here and the Two of Swords and the Three of Wands clarifying this Ace of Coins. This is interesting energy, okay? Because the Eight of Wands and the Knight of Swords are two of the fastest moving cards in the deck. So this is something that is coming into your life very quickly, or your life is going to change really quickly. Like if you are on your own, with the Two of Swords, that's kind of an energy of escape and denial. It's like, I'm not going to make a decision. I'm not going to look at this. I'm not going to be open to how I feel about this or even listening to my internal dialogue that could guide me in a certain direction to make a decision. I'm just going to sit here stagnant and protect myself and just be closed off and not see it and not hear it and not feel it and not even admit or acknowledge the power that I have in every single situation, in every single moment of every single day. I'm just going to sit here and close myself off to it. The Knight of Swords and the Eight of Wands is like, we are leaving that energy. And the Three of Wands, this is like a major shift to future focus. Like, what do I want my life to look like? Okay, what is my plan? What is my strategy? What are the logistics for me to achieve that, for me to actually get there? And it's like, maybe it's even like writing it down. I don't know why I keep feeling like the energy of a pencil here. So take it as it resonates. You have the Five of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, and these are the basic human fears that all of us have, that scarcity mindset of I can't. This is always going to creep in, always. And when you are in the pursuit of something that you want, it is going to creep in more often than not. It is just part of life. And the more you look at it and the more you sit with it and the more you acknowledge it, the less power it really has over you. It's when you try to deny it and try to outrun it and try to, say that it doesn't exist or you don't have that or whatever, that it sort of kind of gets you, it sort of kind of sneaks up on you a little bit. Or it makes you feel like an imposter where, whatever is happening on the surface underlying that is that I'm not worthy, I'm not really good enough to be here, kind of energy that's really sabotaging the level of success you can achieve or reach anyway. So yeah, I mean, this Five of Pentacles doesn't ever go away. We all have it all the time, but whether it's first and foremost in our mind or whether it's really affecting us depends on, really the way we're living our life and the way we're looking at that and the way we're evaluating with it, that and the way we've worked with it with ourselves in our own life, because I know, like, when I have those fears and they come up, I look at them, I observe them, and I go, oh, wow, okay, that fear is popping up. What can I learn from it? What's it trying to teach me? What's it trying to tell me in this moment? And that's all. I don't let it unpack and stay. I don't sit there and go in depth into the fear and be like, oh man, it's probably right. The chances of me succeeding at this are probably slim to none. I don't do that. I look at it. I'm like, okay, what are you trying to tell me? All right, and then I release it. I let it go, and sometimes I even thank it on its way out. I'm like, all right, good to know. Thank you. All right, so where is this going? What is happening here? Yeah, freaking Two of Swords. Yeah. So, you know, this, whatever this is, you know, whether this is someone else or whether this is you, Pisces, with this Two of Swords, this is like, it's a background energy, right? And it's something that, you know, it may be the safe space. It may be the, like, the place we go. You know, there is a certain energy about the Two of Swords that is protective, where it's kind of like, oh, I just can't take any more of the world right now, or I just don't want to be hurt again, or I just don't want to be disappointed, or I just don't want this or that. So I'm going to take a little time out here, and I'm not going to put myself out there. I'm not going to risk it. I'm not going to, you know, I don't even know. I'm just going to take a break, you know, for a moment. And in this particular Two of Swords, you see his eyes are open, and instead of this really being crossed over his heart chakra, it's like this sword is in this hand and this sword is in this hand. It feels like he's coming out of the Two of Swords. You know, his eyes are wide open. He's looking around, and he's kind of disarmed the two swords, and he has them like lower in a position of not like, I'm about to fight with these things, but they're relaxed. He's relaxed. And this energy is like, okay, I'm starting to figure out that I really need to make a decision here. And I'm kind of disarming myself from this. Like, maybe I've taken the time I needed in stagnancy without looking at it, without thinking about it, without, you know, letting myself really feel into the situation too much. And now I'm ready to kind of attack it. Or I don't even want to say attack it, but I'm ready to like look at it. I'm ready to like address it. I'm ready to make this decision that I've kind of been sitting on, right? And we have the Knight of Coins here. And the Knight of Coins, you know, if you watch my channel, you know that I say this is someone who is putting one foot in front of the other. They're like, okay, I need to take steps in this direction. I know this is the direction I want to go to. I want it to matter. I want to make it count. It's really hard for me to do this because, well, for whatever reason, it's hard to do. And so I just have to focus on the step in front of me and just achieving that. And those steps are all going to add up. And when they add up, I will have crossed a great distance. But I just have to make sure that I continuously am dedicated to putting one foot in front of the other. And with the Strength card here, this is overcoming my lower vibrational tendencies. So we saw that King of Cups come out. And, you know, this is like mastering the emotions. And the Strength card, it's kind of like a bigger overall energy where it's like, okay, you know, it's kind of keeping everything in check. You know, we have natural tendencies from, you know, things that we've done, the way we've done them over time, over and over and over again. And in order to break those cycles and to break those patterns, it's like we have to have our awareness on them. Our, like, even acknowledging our own tendency to do that, and then to kind of be aware of it when it is happening, and then say, oh, no, sweet self. I know why you think you have to protect yourself. I know why you think you need to sabotage this. I know that why you think you don't deserve happiness. And man, I love you. I'm sorry that happened to you. But we're not there anymore. We're not in that situation anymore, and we're not that person anymore. It's okay to be brave here. It's okay to take a risk. We're strong. You know, we're building this muscle. We're taking meaningful steps in the right direction. So this is like almost like literally watching someone's psyche as they follow what they want. They're going for what they want, right? But they're like not practiced at it. You know, they're moving with intention and they're dedicated to it with the Knight of Pentacles here and the Strength card here, but they're not well versed in it. They're not well practiced. They're just kind of trying this for the first time. They're just kind of trying to relax into this fear and into this energy and kind of help themselves overcome it, or, you know, take steps to have what it is they want, to pursue what they want, instead of saying, I want this, and hoping it's going to drop in their lap. Wow, yes. See, this, you have the Four of Cups and the Five of Wands. This is very much what this is. We've already seen this Four of Cups, right? of this person just in the very beginning. It's like, I just feel like the universe passes me by. I feel like everybody else always gets what they want or the opportunity to have what they want, but I never do. And we had that realization in the beginning, remember, of the person going, this mentality is what is causing my problem. I need to change my mentality. And you have the Page of Swords, which is like an aha moment. And he's looking over here on the Five of Wands, all these obstacles. And this Five of Wands can be representative of this tension or this conflict that exists within me when I want something, but I don't feel like I can have it. That tension that's created in that space, that can be this conflict. And with the Knight of Pentacles, he's like, watch me have it. I may only be taking one step at a time, and I may not be fully there yet, and it may be a long road to hoe in front of me, and like da-da-da-da-da, but I'm doing it. I'm putting one foot in front of the other, and every single one of these steps is going to be meaningful. I'm overcoming this blockage, this conflict. I'm not going to let it prevent me from going after what I want. I'm going to show it who's boss. So I do feel like someone is coming forward. I do feel like someone is gaining strength over this kind of energy of where they don't feel like they have ever really been in control, or like it's really ever been up to them to have what they want. And I feel like they're disarming themselves and they're pulling out of stagnation. With the Page of Swords and the Eight of Wands and the Ace of Swords, I think a lot of you could potentially be getting communication soon. If you're dealing with a water sign, I regret how I handled things before. I don't want to let you down. Or this is you, right? And with these same energies, you may be getting some kind of opportunity, or you may have some things coming towards you here soon. Then you have resentment. It's hard for me to explain things. I am overthinking everything. I want your attention. For some of you, this may even be just like someone's having a really hard time vocalizing or expressing themselves, maybe even how they feel about you. This may be coming out. This may be a conversation about to happen. If you're dealing with a fire sign, you're going to be patient with me, please. I want to be vulnerable with you. I am trying to figure things out, and I've been having weird dreams about us. A lot of Leo energy in this reading. All right, if you're dealing with an earth sign, you have guarded. You have I miss you more than you know. You have old flames. You have you are the one, and we will be together again, and I want to talk to you. If you are dealing with an air sign, you have I'm sorry I triggered you, secret, excited, and wait for me. All right, guys, this is what I have for you. I hope it helps. I hope it brings you some peace and clarity. If it does, let me know. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I love to hear from you guys. Until next time, I send you out with all my very best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.